I think in the last 5 to 10 years, you've seen the whole topic of entrepreneurship being really discussed by the universities, by the governments, um, since 2013, starting from just Plan 9 and Plan X in the PITB, which were the only first two incubation and acceleration centers in Pakistan. Today in 2021, you see about 20 to 30 of them, and that has all been on the back of entrepreneurship. So, with the Ignite Fund being started by the government and then the National Incubation Center of Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi, based on that, multiple incubation centers have been set up. And I think universities, corporates, and the government have realized that there's a need to push this message around entrepreneurship. So that is the first part of your question that I'm answering in terms of that. The second part, with regards to how COLABS plays a role in this, before I moved back to Pakistan, I spent the last 8, 10 years in venture capital and private equity working and investing in emerging markets from Africa, to London, to Mexico, all around Europe as well. And I was coming to Pakistan a lot as an investor, but I saw that, I mean, there were a lot of people doing incubation centers which were backed by government funds or international funded it's a grant. I think all the incubation centers in that sense as well. You saw multiple acceleration centers come up as well. But what was missing was that sort of space where when these startups or these companies graduate from, where they go and set up office. It's not very easy for a freelancer or a young company to go and set up a big office where they have boardrooms and conference rooms and doing all of that. And I saw a lot of that where co-working spaces played a pivotal role across other parts of the world in actually facilitating startups and doing that. So with that, the idea for CoLabs was that we were going to launch a, a space or multiple spaces around the country like we have today to facilitate not just the entrepreneur, but to facilitate the freelancer, the startup, the SME, and even the large corporates. So the idea was to service all of them. And based on that, today we have multiple sites in Pakistan. Today we service around 500 members across 70 companies, and we have about 100 partners in our ecosystem. I think the government has been helping. Incubation centers were backed by the government as well, and today you see all these new what do you call it agreements coming out by the SECP as well, and they're all backed towards facilitating startups and facilitating investment into the country. So that is a positive role the government is playing today. I think this is a very detailed question, and it's not just the element that they're missing. I guess it's actually seeing, okay, I mean, what is the idea? Then also seeing what is the problem, what is the problem the startup is trying to solve,
Hmm.
and then actually with that coming up with the prototype. The prototype is the first step towards actually going forward and actually creating something. Once you have the prototype, it is actually seeing, is there a market for people to actually buy that product or that sort of problem you're trying to solve. And I think that, in my opinion, are the core fundamental items that an entrepreneur or a startup needs to focus on. Because just saying कि जी मेरे पास idea है और मैंने
Hmm.
पानी कम कर देना है या मैंने ये चीज बेहतर करनी है is not there. It's actually coming up with the product, and without the product you can't really execute. It's it's very simple. Any venture capitalist or an angel investor, anyone investing, be it your friend or your family, they are taking an equity risk because they get part of your company. So tomorrow, if
Hmm.
your company goes zero, their investment becomes zero as well. A bank will be giving you a loan. The loan has to be paid back. It has certain interest attached to that loan. along with that as well, it will potentially, in some cases, have some collateral attached with it. So the bank might ask you to give a property or something in exchange for giving a loan. If it's a collateralized loan, if it's an uncollateralized loan, it would be based on the company's assets. I mean, a VC investor is far ahead in the journey. The first step for a startup should be it is to raise funding. Is just to understand is from angel investors or just friends and family to see if
Hmm.
the idea actually goes forward. Once the idea goes forward, then one or two angels will come in, and then once the journey is already started, then you go ahead to the venture route. I mean, I think the main problem in very simple terms is just
Hmm.
execution. It's
Execution.
just bringing the idea to reality. I mean, if that one thing can be solved in simple steps, I mean, you can really take it from there. I would just say execution because I feel in Pakistan today, a lot of people have ideas, a lot of people want to set up items. Execution
Mm-hmm.
means taking the idea and actually making it into something and seeing does it work or not. I think entrepreneurship Pakistan is here to stay. Yeah, lots of young, bright students and very young entrepreneurial people coming out of universities and incubation centers, just like yourself, who are coming up with who don't want to go and do a traditional job and
Hmm.
don't want to go and do a traditional 9 to 5. It's not that कि जिन्होंने डॉक्टर बनना है या उन्होंने जाके बैंक में काम करना है. I mean, it's our younger generation and
Hmm.
I mean, it's the universities that have now started teaching entrepreneurship in that
Yes.
aspect as well, in terms of seeing कि जी entrepreneurship को हमने teach करना शुरू किया तो अब at a young age वो उनके दिमाग में आना शुरू हो जाती चीजें तो उससे क्या होता है कि that whole journey gets pushed forward and I think that is tomorrow what will push Pakistan today because your main statistics there are your 220 million people, the median age of 27, about 100 million people using smartphones. तो
Hmm.
यही चीजें हैं जो आगे लेके चलेंगे इसको.